Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're going to tackle something we all face, conflict. We're going to break down how you can master it and really how to turn it from something destructive into a powerful engine for your own growth. The goal here is to give you the tools to build relationships, not break them. So let's just start with a huge question, one that kind of flips the script on everything we think we know about disagreement. What if every single conflict, from a small spat to a major negotiation, wasn't a battle you had to win, but an opportunity to build something better?
Okay, let's dive right in. The absolute foundation of mastering conflict is a radical shift in your mindset. It's all about learning to see any disagreement not as a threat, but as this incredible opportunity to create new value. You know the old way of thinking, right? The competition mindset? It's all about dominance. It's zero sum, which means for me to win, you have to lose. But the master's mindset? That's all about collaboration. The goal isn't to beat the other person, it's to actually grow the pie so that everyone gets a bigger slice.
This new way of thinking really stands on 4 pillars. First up, seeing conflict as an opportunity to find hidden flaws and make your own system stronger. Second, the win-win imperative. This is about going way beyond a simple compromise to create solutions that are genuinely better for everyone involved. Third, always look for the third option, that creative path that nobody saw at first. And finally, and this is so important, understanding that morale is victory. Your attitude, your resilience, that's what keeps you performing at a high level when the pressure is on.
Okay, so having a new mindset is great, but how do you actually use it? Well, it all starts by moving from your mindset to a real, tangible strategy. And here's the secret, the most critical part of handling any conflict happens way before the so-called fight even starts.
You know, this classic quote from Sun Tzu just hits the nail on the head. Real victory isn't won in some heated argument. It's secured through smart, careful preparation that can actually disrupt the other side's plans before they even get off the ground. And look, this isn't just some ancient philosophy. The data actually backs this up in a huge way. It feels a little counterintuitive, but the time you invest in disciplined, structured prep work doesn't just help a little bit. It can make you up to 9 times more effective. That's a massive return. So what does this prep work actually look like? Well, it's about digging deep to uncover the hidden goals. See, it's never just about the topic on the surface. It's also about the relationship, each person's sense of identity, and the process itself. You have to really try to see the conflict from their perspective, and then find where your needs overlap, your interdependence, to build a solution that will actually last. All right, so we've got our mindset right, and we've got our strategy in place. Now it's time to actually engage. This part is all about tactical communication, and we're not talking about overpowering someone. We're talking about using specific, almost surgical techniques to influence the situation without ever having to be aggressive. And it all starts with you, with ironclad self-control. Your first move, always, is to master your own emotional reactions. You have to have the discipline to just pause, think, and respond strategically instead of just lashing out. And always remember this mantra: attack the problem, not the person. Okay, now this next concept, this is a total game changer. It's called tactical empathy. Now, this isn't about being nice or feeling sorry for them. It's the powerful skill of understanding their point of view so well that you can actually say it back to them. And when you do that, their defenses just drop. It opens the door for real collaboration. So how do you actually do this? It's really 3 simple actions. First, you have to actively listen. Put the phone down, undivided attention. Second, you start labeling their emotions. You say things like, "It sounds like you feel this is unfair," or "It seems like you're frustrated." Third, you paraphrase their position back to them to prove that you really get it. You do these 3 things, and you will be amazed at how quickly you can diffuse tension. This is another huge tactical shift. You have to completely change the questions you ask. We tend to ask why questions, which just puts people on the defensive. Instead, you start using calibrated how and what questions. Asking something like, "How are we supposed to do that?" or "What can we do to solve this?" It invites them to help you find a solution, and it makes it their idea, which lets them keep their dignity. And what happens when they come at you hard? They get aggressive, they make it personal. You don't fight fire with fire. You use something called negotiation jujitsu. So if they say, "You're being completely unreasonable," you don't argue back. You say something like, "I can see why you'd think this is unreasonable. How can we make this feel fair to you?" You just deflect their force and redirect all that energy right back to solving the problem. So let's say you did it. You reached an agreement. High fives all around, right? Well, not so fast. Getting the deal is a huge milestone, but it's really only half the battle. The final, and honestly the most important phase, is making sure that resolution is actually put into action and is built to last. This right here is where so many resolutions just completely fall apart. We get so focused on getting to yes that we totally forget to nail down the how. A yes in principle, a verbal agreement, is pretty much useless without a crystal clear plan for how it's going to get done. So how do you lock it all down? You use something called the rule of three. It's a pretty simple process. Step 1, you get that initial yes, that commitment. Step 2, you get them to say it again, to reaffirm it, using labels and summaries. And step 3, this is the absolute key. You ask those how and what questions to get them to spell out the exact implementation plan in their own words. And finally, a true victory isn't just about the deal you made. It's about what happens to the relationship afterward. Conflict can leave scars, right? So a master of conflict actively manages the aftermath. That means apology, forgiveness, and deliberately doing things to rebuild trust so the relationship is even stronger in the future. So when you boil it all down, what does mastering conflict really look like? It's not about being the loudest person in the room or the toughest or the most aggressive. It's a quiet strength, built on a deliberate process of deep psychological preparation, rock-solid emotional discipline, and a total commitment to working together. This quote just says it all, doesn't it? It perfectly captures that unbreakable mindset. So I'll just leave you with this to think about. What if you started looking at every single conflict in your life, not as a threat to be feared, but as your own personal training ground to build a stronger, more resilient future for yourself?